turn my mic on there. Appreciate the opportunity this evening, even if it is just a very few minutes, to express my heartfelt sympathies and concern for the families of those who have lost their lives in these past months, specifically as they're relating to this conversation, this Take Note debate tonight. These are heinous crimes, and they deserve the full weight of the law applied to them. And we truly do mourn every woman who was lost, has been lost. Over 160 women lost just this last year alone to femicide in Canada. And it's very disturbing to consider that this is happening in our country, of all places. And yet we can't help but ask ourselves, what is the underlying cause of this type of behavior? And we've heard tonight of different circumstances where I think we're not really doing what is best in our society to develop our young boys into men who then become husbands and fathers. You hear about the after effects, I think, a lot of times of a life that faced probably circumstances where maybe they weren't taught properly about the values that they need to have. I think of the YWCA in Saskatoon when I went there to talk with the people there about their programs, and they talked about a lot of the young boys that they have come into their facility are very, very rough around the edges. And you go, okay, what is causing this? We want to just set that aside when really one of the things is, as we talked about that day, having such easy access to pornography at a very young age. We had on the Hill an opportunity to see a film that was done all around a family, a wholesome family, where they were homeschooled and sitting at the table doing their homework. And this little boy at a young age clicked on a button that said, you must be 18 to click on this button, but it didn't stop him from clicking on that button. And over time, this young boy began to really act out and to treat his mother and his sister with an incredible level of disrespect. And this was happening very quickly in the midst of doing homework at the kitchen table while his mom was preparing a meal. And these are things that are in our society that are impacting the quality of our young men as they're growing up, and not just our young men, in fairness there. So we have to look at the deeper rooted issues around violence in games. We hear all the time, oh no, we can't deal with that because that, come on. These are things that are impacting future husbands and future fathers. And it all starts at that level within that family. So I want to also make a point around the fact that we want to be developing solid relationships amongst people. We spend an incredible amount of time on our careers, on getting a PhD, on all these different, maybe developing a really strong ability to ski, whatever it might be. But how much time do we spend in developing ourselves into the people that we would want other people to enjoy being with? About choosing to be the kind of person that another person would choose to marry. I said this once in a scenario where I was giving a talk, and for me as a young woman, I had my picture of what I would want in a man. Yes, strong masculinity, but not toxic masculinity. Someone who appreciated and valued me as an individual. All of these types of things that we want to see in those that we're looking for. But we have to remember that those people are also looking for that in the person that they are looking to have a long-term relationship with as well. So the fact that there is this level of violence in relationships where a partner is killed or controlled, this doesn't happen in the later times. It happens over the time of preparing that individual to have character in life. And I want to say that churches, gurdwaras, they all of our religious institutions play a significant role in building into young people what those relationships should look like, what kind of a person you want to be, to have character, to have values, to choose to tell the truth, to be caring and compassionate. These are all character traits that every person needs to have in their lives. So where's our society, where's our government?
I'm really sorry, but we have to go to questions and comments. The Honourable Member for Malpeque.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And there's been some really remarkable, heartfelt remarks here tonight. And I have a staffer that volunteers at a women's shelter in Charlottetown. And I can tell you there is no question that during the pandemic that the domestic intimate partner violence has gone up. But we know the problem, and I think the last speaker really hit on a really important point, and that is, what is the underlying cause for this behavior and this violence? I mean, some of us were lucky we were born into the families we were. Lots of situations, many situations aren't like that. Mm-hmm. So I guess my key question to the last speaker, and really to anyone that I think we need to be focusing on, what's the answer here? We can all outline the problems, and they're serious. Is it, is it education? Is it training? Is it funding? Is it family relationships and working on that? I mean, where do we got to go? We need to be targeting the solution here.
And I have to give the member the opportunity to answer. The Honourable Member for Yorkton Melville.
Well, I thank the member for that question because it resonates a great deal with me. Having been a pastor's wife, believe me, you deal a great deal with a lot of the hurts that people experience in their lives. And life is full of those. So I think one of the things that we need to do, and I don't know if this is a government responsibility, actually. I'm on Veterans Affairs, and, VAC has its role, but Veterans Helping Veterans, that's where it's at. So I really think that we need to be investing in relationships at a young age, and building community is so key. And of course, with the COVID scenario that we're in, isolation is absolutely a horrific scenario. And I know even one of the individuals who talked to me in regards to C7, who is a psychiatrist, works at the University of Toronto Hospital and is in favor, but he said the number of seniors...
Have to give other opportunities. Questions et commentaires. L'honorable...
Questions and comments. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean.
Je remercie ma collègue pour son discours. Je remarque malheureusement quelque chose.
I'd like to thank my colleague for her remarks. I've noticed that when we listen to the Conservatives talk about some social issues, the fact of the matter is that they have to do with increasing, for example, fines. They're often coercive measures. I'd like to hear about positive measures that can be put in place to support women, to give them faith in themselves, and to help them to believe in themselves as being more than just an object. And I'd even like to hear what the member thinks about feeling free in their own bodies.
I feel very free in my own body. I'm very proud of who I am as a woman. Part of being in that state requires someone who has come to the realization that they have incredible inherent value regardless of other people, and that they choose to make themselves the best you that you can be. I'm very, very proud of my relationship with my husband. I married my best friend, and I would encourage any young people who happen to be political junkies and are listening to any of this, although it is a good topic, to realize that to be the kind of person someone else wants you to be is not as important as making sure that you have that sense of value within yourself. And that's not something that other people can give you. That's something that you need to develop on your own. And for women who are facing this kind of trial, believe me, I have a lot of memories of my husband and I trying to assist with people who've gone through very difficult circumstances. And life is hard, but everybody has value. And that's what the United Nations Commission on Status of Women, I was just there tonight, the inherent value of every human being. And the fact that we are all different and that we have different perspectives is the icing on the cake.